Alhamdulillah wa salatu wa salamu ala rasulillah amma ba'd. Brothers, the topic of discussion today, inshallah ta'ala, is the fortress of a Muslim. The fortress of a Muslim is something that protects you. Our fortress is dhikr and dua. As is mentioned in the hadith of the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wasallam in the Sunan of Imam al-Tirmidhi, where the Prophet gave an example of how dhikr and dua is a fortress that protects you from evil. The Prophet sallallahu alayhi wasallam gave us an example of a man who is being chased down by his enemies. His enemies are chasing after him. They're gaining on him. They're about to grab him. They're about to finish him. But suddenly, he throws himself inside of a fortified fortress. A fortress protects you. You know, sometimes you have, back in the days, you might have an army where the army is very weak, but they can't be conquered because of their fortress. How are you going to overcome these walls? How are you going to get inside of them? The fortress was a protection. As long as you had food and your supplies inside, then you were going to be safe. That's why the city of Constantinople, which is now modern day Istanbul in Turkey, for hundreds of years the Muslims could not conquer it. Even though the Romans were weak, the Romans were finished, but the Muslims just could not get inside. Why? Because of the walls, the fortresses that were around that city. So the Prophet ﷺ said that is what it's like when you start to remember Allah. When you start to do dhikr, shaitan might be chasing after you. Some of you might suffer from waswas or possession, jinn possession, or maybe you've got magicians that might want to try to do magic on you. At the moment you start doing your dhikr, what happens? It's like a fortress is built around you. Some of you have problems in the streets with people. You know, if you go to a certain area, something might happen to you. You might not even go to that area. Someone might come to your own ends and they might harm you. The moment you start doing your dhikr, you're protected. These people, they can't get anywhere near close to you. Whatever the evil might be. Evil eye. You know, I read a quote by Shaykh Ibn Uthaymeen that really touched me. It's very powerful. You know, a lot of the times people, they say when something good happens to them and then they get evil eye, they say, oh, this guy gave me evil eye. And he's jealous because, sisters will be saying, oh, I'm so beautiful. She's jealous of me. Brothers will be saying, I got so much money, or I got this, I got that. He's jealous of me. Right? Ibn Uthaymeen said, it's not because you're beautiful. It's not because you got money that you got evil eye. You got evil eye because you didn't remember Allah. You did not remember Allah. Remembering Allah, His names, or reading some of these du'as that the Prophet ﷺ taught, they are a protection from evil. Now, the rest of the brothers that are going to go through their talks with you today are going to mention a different du'a. Each one is going to mention a different du'a that protects you from a type of evil. And I was thinking to myself, which du'a should I choose? Which evil shall I mention to you? A du'a that you can protect yourself from it. And it came to mind, there is no evil that is greater, that is worse, that is more just corrupted and filthy than the evil of shirk, the evil of worshipping someone else besides Allah. Remember, shirk is of two types. As Imam Hafidh al-Hakami rahimahullah ta'ala, he said, وَالشِّرْكُ نَوْعَانِ فَالشِّرْكٌ أَكْبَرُ بِهِ خُلُودُ نَارِ إِذْ لَا يُغْفَرُ. He said the shirk is of two types. The first type is akbar, major shirk. And the second type is asghar, minor shirk. What happens if you do major shirk? بِهِ خُلُودُ النَّارِ إِذْ لَا يُغْفَرُ. You will go inside of the hellfire if you're not forgiven. Even minor shirk, if you're not forgiven for it, if you don't seek forgiveness, you go to the hellfire. Even if eventually you come out, but you will go to the hellfire even if you do minor shirk. Does that make sense? And then we want to explain what's major shirk and what's minor shirk. Because it's something that takes you straight to the fire, my brothers. My sisters, it's something that goes, you burn. And if you do a major shirk, you will never be forgiven. And you will never ever come out of the hellfire. Okay? But before I explain to you what the types of shirk are, what the two types of shirk are, some of you might be sitting here thinking that, but we're Muslim, no one here is doing shirk. No one here does shirk. Does that make sense? And the reality of the matter is that you are wrong. How can you not be scared of shirk for yourself when the Prophet ﷺ was scared of shirk for his companions? The Prophet ﷺ, he looked at his companions, he said, أَلَا أُخْبِرُكُمْ بِمَا هُوَ أَخْوَفُ عَلَيْكُمْ عِنْدِي مِنَ الْمَسِيحِ الدَّجَّالِ. The Prophet ﷺ said, or kama qal, he said, shall I not inform you of the thing that I am more scared for you than even Dajjal? Brothers, Sisters, wallahi, the fitna of Dajjal is such a scary fitna that a person will be a believer at the daytime. By night time, Dajjal will make him a kafir. And at night time, if he's a believer, by the morning he'll be a disbeliever. It's the thing that the Prophet used to make dua to Allah protect him and his ummah from in every salah. To the point where Shaykh Al-Albani argued that seeking protection from Dajjal in salah is wajib. Obligatory, meaning you're sinning if you don't do it. And there's a different opinion on that. But the point is that the Prophet would do it consistently. The fitna of Dajjal, the Prophet said, is like the fitna of the grave. Like in the Prophet said, shall I not inform you in this hadith, the thing I fear for you, I'm scared for you, even more than Dajjal? The Sahaba said, Bala, of course, Ya Rasulullah. We're waiting, please educate us. The Prophet said, Ash-shirkul khafi. The thing I'm scared for you is the hidden shirk. Hidden shirk? What is it? The Prophet ﷺ, he explained. He said, يَقُومُ الرَّجُلُ. It's a man, hidden shirk is what? Is when a man, he stands up. The Prophet's giving an example of what hidden shirk is. He stands up, فَيُصَلِّي, and then he prays. And when he prays, فَيُزَيِّنُ صَلَاتَهُ, he beautifies his prayer. لِمَا يَرَى مِن نَظَرٍ رَجُلٍ رَوَاهُ أَحْمَدٍ. He said he beautifies his prayer. Why? So that the other people in the room, when they look at him, they'll look at him and think, wow, this guy, look how he prays. So who's he praying for? Allah, or is he praying for the one he's showing off to? Brothers, this is what shirk is. Shirk is to make nid, to make an equal with Allah when it comes to worship. Worship, Allah said, وَمَا خَلَقْتُ الْجِنَّ وَالْإِنسَ إِلَّا لِيَعْبُدُونَ. Allah said, I did not create the humans, nor did I create the jinn for any reason except that they should worship me alone. So worship is why Allah created you. Okay? For tawheed, that you only worship Him and no one else. Shirk is that you take that worship, which is for Allah, and you give it to someone else other than Him. So this can happen in a major way, and it can happen in a minor way. A major way is when you come out and you make sajda to an idol. Or you go in front of a grave of a righteous man, you make dua and you say, please give me this. You say, give me a child. Or you go to a human being and you ask him for something only Allah has the ability to give to you. For example, you go to a human being and you say, give me a child. Or, help, show me something from the unseen. It's a shirk billahi azza wa jal. Because things that are specific and unique for Allah, you're asking them from other than Allah. And that is the greatest crime. There is no crime greater than this. In the shirka, la dhulmul azim. To worship someone besides Allah, Luqman, he said, it is the greatest form of oppression. There is no oppression greater than this. Does that make sense? Allah Azza wa Jalla said, when a person, he does this, إِنَّ اللَّهَ لَا يَغْفِرُ أَن يُشْرَكَ بِهِ وَيَغْفِرُ مَا دُونَ ذَلِكَ لِمَن يَشَاءُ. Allah will not forgive this person. He will never forgive him. But anyone who does less than it, he might have murdered someone. He might have fornicated with a woman. He might have what? He might have done all sorts of crimes. Allah said, other than this, Allah will forgive it if He wants to. And of course, by repentance, why would we not expect Allah to forgive this person? Like in shirk, Allah said, I'm not going to forgive this. Ever. Allah said, Inna Allah, what has Allah done? Allah has made Jannah haram. Haram. The same as haram for you to drink alcohol. It's haram for you to sleep with a woman. It's haram for you to disrespect your parents. Allah said, I have made Jannah haram for the one who done shirk. The one who done shirk. So the major shirk, when a person clearly comes out and he worships someone else besides Allah. Minor shirk, and of course I'm not giving you a very technical, exhaustive definition of what major shirk and minor shirk is. I'm doing it more so with examples because I don't want this to be a complicated lesson. Does that make sense? Some of you have already done Kitab al-Tawheed in the summer with Shaykh Muhammad Timambo, so you should understand. And if you haven't already done it, no problem, inshallah ta'ala. Next summer you can do it again, and Ustad Muhammad Timambo will go through shirk and Tawheed and all of that with you guys, inshallah ta'ala. But I'm giving it to you more with examples. Minor shirk is something where it doesn't take you outside the fold of Islam. It is shirk. It is shirk, but it's minor. It's something that if you keep doing it, it's going to lead to major shirk. Okay, and that's, for example, like showing off in your worship. It's like showing off inside of your worship. You're reading the Quran and suddenly you start to make your voice a little bit more beautiful. Why? So that the people around you can hear. And now you're not praying, you're not reading Quran for Allah, for His pleasure. You're not hearing the Quran for Allah to hear your voice, for Allah to hear His words being recited on your tongue. You're doing it for the people. And ibadah is for Allah. And you've given it to someone else, now you've done minor shirk. You give charity, but then you let the people know, hey, guess what? I gave £100 in charity. Why? Because you want people to think, oh, he's generous. Look how generous this man is. Does that make sense? In fact, brothers, sisters, this is such a scary thing. There's a hadith of the Prophet ﷺ. He said that the person who will be punished first on the Day of Judgment and be thrown into the hellfire first, before even the people who used to worship idols, is the one who used to show off in his ibadah. The Prophet gave 3 examples. A man who was on a battlefield and he died. He got killed for apparently the sake of Allah. He'll be asked, so why did you do this? He will say, I did it so I could die for the sake of Allah Azza wa Jalla, so I could make the word of Allah high. And he'll be told, no, you did it so that people can look at you and say, you are a brave man. And he'll be taken and dragged into the hellfire. The second will be a man who gave charity. He will say, I did this for the sake of Allah Azza wa Jalla. He'll be told, no, you did it so that people can look at you and say, wow, mashallah, look how generous this man is. Ibadah, which is for Allah, you gave it to someone else. He'll be taken and dragged into the hellfire. The third, and this is one which is scary, a man who learnt the Quran, seeking knowledge. He used to seek knowledge, he used to study the deed. He'll be told, why did you do this? I did it for the sake of Allah. We're told, no, you did it so that people can look at you and say, look at the way he recites the Quran, look at how knowledgeable he is, Allahumma barik, mashallah, tabarakallah. We're told, no, you're a liar, you did it so that you can show off to them. You'll be taken into the hellfire. That's what the poet said, العالم بعلمه لم يعملا معذب من قبل عباد وثن. That the person who has knowledge and he never implemented it. As in, knowledge should make you worship Allah alone. It should make you upon tawheed. You shouldn't do no shirk. The one who did that, he had knowledge but he never implemented it, he will be punished on the Day of Judgment even before the ones who used to worship the idols are punished. Even before the Hindu who used to worship an elephant is punished. This man, he's a Muslim, right? But he used to do it for other than Allah's sake. So he'll be punished and tortured and thrown into the hellfire before anyone else. And that's the minor shirk. Now this minor shirk, ya ikhwatul kiram, it's something that the Prophet ﷺ, and that previous hadith I told you is by Imam Ahmad. And the next hadith I'm going to tell you is in Adab al-Mufrad by Imam al-Bukhari, where the Prophet feared for this minor shirk in even his companions. Look at the hadith. The Prophet said, Ya Abu Bakr, Ya Abu Bakr. Who's Abu Bakr? Who's Abu Bakr? He's the greatest man from this ummah, brothers. My sisters, there is no man on this ummah after the Prophet ﷺ who is greater than Abu Bakr Siddiq radiallahu ta'ala anhu. And that's who the Prophet is talking to. The Prophet said, Ya Abu Bakr, O Abu Bakr. He said, لَلشِّرْكُ فِيكُمْ أَخْفَ مِنْ دَبِيبِ النَّمْلِ. He said that shirk is inside of you, people. It's inside of you. It can, he's not saying it's in Abu Bakr, but it can be inside of you. The Prophet is showing his fear. It can go inside of you and it can be hidden. Like what? Dabib al-naml. Like an ant. Another narration, Abdullah ibn Abbas mentioned that shirk will come inside of you, inside your heart, the way that a black ant, it goes underneath a stone under a dark night. Can you notice it? The black ant at night is really hard to see. Like to see the black ant at night underneath a stone, that's not visible to the naked eye. He said it can go inside of you like that. Does that make sense? So can you imagine the Sahaba confused? We worship Allah alone. We died for this. We fought for this. We were 300 at Badr, outnumbered 3-1 against 1,000 men. And we did that for the sake of Allah. So we destroyed those idols. And now that you're being told that shirk can be inside of you, hidden, just there, untapped, unannounced, unnoticed. So look what the Prophet did. The Prophet ﷺ, he repeated. He said, وَالَّذِي نَفْسِي بِيَدِي. He said, I swear. The Prophet said, I swear by the one, in his hand is my soul. He said what? He said, sallallahu alayhi wasallam, that the shirk is inside of you. It can be inside of you, more hidden than an ant. He repeated it again. And then the Prophet ﷺ gives them a solution. And that's what the talk is about today. The Prophet ﷺ said, أَلَا أَدُلُّكَ عَلَى شَيْءٍ إِذَا فَعَلْتَهُ ذَهَبَ عَنْكَ قَلِيلَهُ وَكَثِيرَهُ. The Prophet ﷺ said, should I not tell you something? Should I not indicate you something? Should I not teach you something? That if you do it, the shirk will go from you. The big shirk and even the small shirk. And this is why the Sahaba never done shirk. I don't want anyone to think that I'm saying that the Prophet is looking at Abu Bakr and he's saying, Abu Bakr, you've got shirk in you. I'm not saying that. It's because the Sahaba took this advice the Prophet said. That's why they never had it. That's why the Sahaba's hearts were clean. Me and you, yeah, it could be in us. Because we don't do this what the Prophet said. The Sahaba, everyone, when they heard it, he did it. Abu Bakr, what? He going to take this from the Prophet? No shirk ever came to Abu Bakr's heart, radiallahu ta'ala anhu, or the rest of the Sahaba. Like in the Prophet telling them to build that fear inside of them, so that when we hear these hadith, we can be scared too. So what is this thing? The Prophet said, ذَهَبَ عَنْكَ كَثِيرَهُ وَقَلِيلَ أَوْ كَمَا قَالَ. If you do it, the major shirk and the minor, it will go, it will never come to you. You'll be safe from it. Of course, the Sahaba wanted to know. The Prophet said to them, قُل, say what? A dua, which is Allahumma inni, oh Allah, the dua is, oh Allah, inni a'udhu bika an ushrika bika wa ana a'lam. Oh Allah, I ask you to protect me. This is the dua. Oh Allah, I seek refuge in you to be protected from doing shirk with you, Ya Allah. And I'm aware that I'm doing shirk. I'm asking Allah to protect me from the shirk that I'm aware. But remember, the discussion is about the shirk that's hidden, right? وَأَسْتَغْفِرُكَ لِمَا لَا أَعْلَمُ. And Allah, I seek forgiveness in you. I seek forgiveness from you from the time that I do shirk and I didn't even know I did it. And that I did not even know that I did it. Brothers, this is a dua that you have to memorize. This is a dua that you have to learn. We can sit here and talk about adhkar to increase your rizq, and your rizq will inshallah ta'ala increase. We can sit here and talk about adhkar to protect you from, your enemies, to protect you from the shayateen, to protect you from what? Diseases and sicknesses. Allahumma afini fi badani. To protect you from problems in your eyes and your ears. Allahumma afini fi sam'i. Allahumma afini fi basari. We can make those du'as, we can learn those du'as. Like they are all built upon a foundation which is tawheed, which is to worship Allah alone. Like if you get that foundation wrong, those du'as are going to mean nothing for you, and a person will unfortunately be dragged into the hellfire, brothers, for eternity, never coming out. Ever. And Allah said in Surah An-Naba that they will not be increased in the hellfire. There will be no increase إِلَّا عَذَابًا, except more and more and more punishment. Every day, every week, every month in the hellfire, it doesn't get easier. The pain only gets more. The fire only burns more. The torture only gets more. And that stays for eternity. And unfortunately, brothers and sisters, we live in a day and age where we see statistics show us 10,000 young Muslims every year are leaving Islam. That's from those who announce it. And what about those who don't announce it? And then the sad thing is that there are some that come to the masjid and pray next to you, and he doesn't even know he's got shirk in him, and he might already be a kafir. This hadith, the fact that the Prophet taught us to make dua, وَأَسْتَغْفِرُ, I seek forgiveness with you, Ya Allah, لِمَا لَا أَعْلَمُ. When I do shirk and I never knew, what that shows is that you can do shirk and become a disbeliever and you never even knew it. You can fall into kufr and you didn't even realize you're a disbeliever. You got the beard, bro. You got the trousers above your ankles, but you fell into shirk. And that's why, brothers, I say so much. I say these little things that you might take it as small, like even wearing clothes like Nike. I've told you a lot of times, Nike is a god. Is a god, a Greek goddess that's worshipped besides Allah. That was worshipped besides Allah. The guy who used to own Blue Ribbon Sports, the company, and then he changed the name to Nike. His autobiography came out last year. I read it in there. He clearly said she was named after the Greek goddess of victory. And they were still going to wear it and say, oh, but this, and it's not worshipped anymore. That's how Allah, I find it ajib and gharib that people will argue on the issue of Nike. And I'm like, this reminds me of these ayat and these ahadith. Like a person may fall into shirk and he doesn't even know. And he doesn't even know. Does that make sense? Wearing these amulets, these little Turkish bracelets with the Turkish eyes, or the ta'weezes with the little black thing, and you say, oh, what ayatul kursi? And it's not ayatul kursi in there. And even if ayatul kursi is in there, what is it going to do for you that it's on you? You're supposed to read it. Well, you think the paper is going to protect you? The ink is going to protect you? The ink and the paper means nothing. If I put it in water, it will dissolve. Even though it's ayatul kursi, it will dissolve. It's when you read it and what it means with the tawheed that Allah Azza wa Jalla then He will give you protection. Does that make sense, my brothers and my sisters? So this is a dua that you have to learn, and I ask Allah Azza wa Jalla to purify our hearts from any shirk. Brothers, shirk can even happen with women. Wallahi, it happens a lot. Men, they fall in love with women. Wallahi, those women, they become equals to them when it comes to Allah. Allah says, وَمِنَ النَّاسِ مَن يَتَّخِذُ أَنْدَادًا يُحِبُّونَهُمْ كَحُبِّ اللَّهِ. From mankind there are those, they make other people equal to Allah when it comes to love. Love, they love a woman the way that they love Allah. They love a parent the way that they're supposed to love Allah, or equal. Allah says, وَالَّذِينَ آمَنُوا, but the believers, أَشَدُّ حُبًّا لِلَّهِ, they are intense in their love for Allah. Another hadith, the Prophet said that you have the slave, the abd, the slave of what? The gold coin and the silver coin, the penny and the pound. Some people are slaves, they worship money. Who do you worship? Some people, what is it? They worship the flag. They worship their tribe, or their flag, their country means more to them than Allah. I mean, what is this? What is these divides that we make based on tribes and based on countries and based on flags and based on cultures? These are allegiances that are ignorant, wallahi. Jahili, as the Prophet ﷺ said. And he said, brother, akhi, fear Allah, إِنَّمَا الْمُؤْمِنُونَ إِخْوَةٌ, verily the believers are brothers. But he said, but he's not from where I'm from. He's not with the ones who I'm with. I just told you an ayah. So now your flag became equal to Allah. Your tribe just became equal to Allah. Does that make sense? Brothers, anything that is an obstacle between you and Allah, it could be a means of shirk for you. Because how are you placing this before Allah Azza wa Jalla? Does that make sense? And finally, I want to mention to you an ayah which mentions the power and the beauty in really understanding Tawheed and staying away from shirk. Allah Azza wa Jalla says, الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا. Brothers, pay attention because this ayah is a lifesaver. It will save your life in this life, and this ayah will help you save your life in the next life. Allah says, الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا وَلَمْ يَلْبِسُوا إِيمَانَهُمْ بِظُلْمٍ أُولَٰئِكَ لَهُمُ الْأَمْنُ وَهُمْ مُهْتَدُونَ. Allah said the people who they don't mix their iman with shirk, because dhulm here means shirk, as the Prophet explained in the hadith. Oppression here means shirk, as the Prophet himself explained this verse in the hadith. Anyone who mixes iman, so he's a Muslim, and he mixes it with shirk. Sorry, the one who's a believer and he does not mix his iman with shirk, he doesn't mix the two, it's far away from shirk. Allah said, أُولَٰئِكَ, these people, لَهُمُ الْأَمْنُ, for them is safety. وَهُمْ مُهْتَدُونَ, and they will be guided. Pay attention. Safety from what? Safety from the hellfire in the next life, and safety from any evil in this life. And that's why I wanted to start with this dhikr, because the one I was going to teach you guys today was أعوذ بكلمات الله التامات من شر ما خلق, which is the dua the Prophet said, if you say this dua whenever you come to a particular place, when you come to a particular place, you will not be harmed until you leave. And I wanted to teach you guys this dua because sadly we hear a lot of our young brothers getting stabbed recently. We've seen brothers that come to the masjid and they go outside and they get stabbed because the masjid was in op block, as they say. Well, like some brothers, they leave the streets, but the problem is still following them. So I wanted to teach you this dua. Whenever you come to a place, you read it, you read it, you read it, because nothing will harm you until you leave. But lakin, what is greater than that dua is the dua to be protected from shirk. Because Allah said, if you don't mix your iman with shirk, أُولَٰئِكَ لَهُمُ الْأَمْنُ وَهُمْ مُهْتَدُونَ, you'll be safe, secure. That's the foundation. You'll be safe and you'll be secure. Brothers, the jinn, evil jinn, the shayateen won't touch you. The magicians can't cast their magic on you. لا يفلح الساحر حيث أتى. Any way someone tries to do any magic on you cannot come close to you in any way, shape or form. Even if they send 10 magicians after you, 20 shayateen they try to possess you with, can't come near to you. Evil eye can't touch you. No one can give you evil eye. No person can bring any weapon to you to harm you. No gangs can come and touch you. No plotting of any person can harm you. At work, at school, at college, none of your family members can harm you. And in the next life, shaitan himself can't harm you. Next life you're going to be safe. Illa ma sha Allah. Unless Allah He wishes to teach you a lesson through some wisdom by allowing some harm to come to you. Sometimes, even though you're doing the dhikr, Allah might allow you to get possessed. He might allow you to get sick. Why? There's a lesson that Allah wants to teach you. But like in the general rule is that nothing will harm you in this life and the next. And you will be guided. And this is for those, they didn't mix their iman with shirk. Does that make sense? Now, Taha, where are you? How long do we have? Okay, I'm done. I just want to make sure we all memorize this. So I'm going to repeat the dua. All of you are going to walk out of here having memorized this dua, inshallah ta'ala, okay? So, remember, Al-alimun bi'ilmihi lam ya'malan, the one who had knowledge and he never implemented it, mu'adzabun min qabli ubadin wathan. He will be punished on the day of judgment even before the idol worshippers. So we don't want to be coming here learning these du'as and what? And then we just walk away. Oh, what was that du'a again? Does that make sense? Sadly, there were some du'as I heard 10 years ago when I started practicing and I never memorized them. And since then I've been searching for them. And wallahi, only last month I found this one du'a I was looking for. The du'a that you make when you're in times of difficulty and pain and suffering. I've wanted to find this du'a for so long. Imagine I didn't memorize it, and look at how I was taught a lesson by Allah. For 10 years it became absent from me. And how much hardship I experienced in those 10 years. Maybe I would have been able to handle it better if I was making this du'a. So you want to make sure that you don't let these things pass you.
Yo,
what's going on, bro?
yeah, I got the thing.
What? How much is in there?
20 mil.
You being serious?
Yeah, hold that. It's yours now.
You guys are probably wondering how this dusty looking camera is worth 20 mil. Let me break it down for you. About 6 years ago, some brothers and sisters gave us about £600 in order for us to purchase this camera to make da'wah videos. 6 years later, alhamdulillah, we made well over 1,000 videos and we reached over 20 million plus views on YouTube alone without taking into account all the other social media platforms that we're on. So those people at the time when they gave that money, I don't think they had any idea that that £600 that they gave was gonna go towards a camera that would reach 20 million people who watch videos and they changed their lives after having watched them, who watched these videos and started praying, who watched these videos and accepted Islam. Can you imagine if they were sincere, the kind of reward that they're going to get on the day of judgment, inshallah ta'ala? But now here's the issue. This camera is 6 years old. I mean, there's cracks in it, it's breaking, it's well past its sell by date. We're trying to take things up to the next level. In order to do that, we need a new camera. In fact, we need more than one. We need more equipment. We need to actually hire a bigger media team. But all of this stuff, it comes with expenses, it comes with costs. And over the next 6 years, inshallah ta'ala, we're looking to reach well over 20 million people. Now look, I'm going to be direct with you. I'm about to ask you for some money to put towards the da'wah for the sake of Allah. But before I do that, I want to tell you some figures, some statistics to show you the kind of reward that you might be looking at, inshallah, if you come with sincerity and the donation. Just take a look at the kind of numbers we have over the last 90 days. Over the last 90 days, we received over 1.4 million views on our YouTube channel alone. That's 466,000 views every 30 days. That's 15,555 views per day. That's right. You could be in your sleep, sleeping 6, 7, 8 hours a day, however much you sleep, and you just earn a reward, inshallah ta'ala. Why? Because you gave a bit of money that went towards a very big project. Now, with that 15,000 odd views a day, if you average that out across 6 years, which is the lifespan of this camera, do you know how much reward that is, inshallah? That's 34,065,450 views. I don't know about you, but that kind of reward, I need that in my life. This is not the kind of opportunity that we should be passing up, especially if you've got sins. The Prophet ﷺ said that giving charity wipes away sins the way that water, it extinguishes fire. So look, say no more, inshallah ta'ala. I don't feel like I should have to convince you towards giving to a project like this anymore. If you want that kind of reward, you want the da'wah to spread, you want la ilaha illallah to spread across the internet, inshallah ta'ala, then you want to give at the link below to this project. Assalamu alaikum. Peace. Remember, 20 mil, yeah? And that's on YouTube alone.